Hello, my name is David Grasso from Gen Biz, and this segment is brought to you by Engineered Tax Services, where engineering and accounting come together. Joining us via Skype is my friend and the host of Red America Radio, Karyn Turk. How you doing this afternoon, Karyn?
Great to be here. Beautiful day in Florida.
So I'm sure you caught what job creators just dropped. They created an ad as part of their campaign, Socialism Takes, Capitalism Creates. This is a national campaign and the first of many TV and digital media ads featuring victims of socialism, telling their stories to the American public. First, before we talk about it, let's take a look at one of their ads.
My family lived through the socialist revolution in Nicaragua. We saw firsthand how the promises of equality and government assistance quickly turned into government control and oppression. When the government takes over the economy, it also takes away people's opportunities. I love America and the American dream. So it's very scary to see socialistic ideas gaining popularity in this country.
Democratic socialism.
Some people say that America can have democratic socialism and it will never be like Cuba, Venezuela, or Nicaragua. But I lived through the changes, and if we're not careful, it could happen here. America is the greatest country in the world, and our free market capitalistic economy is what keeps us great.
So Karyn, what do you think about this?
America is the greatest country in the world, and I just want to know what restaurant she owns so I can go there and eat with her because she's amazing, and the American dream is amazing, and it's alive and well. And it's very refreshing to see an immigrant, especially a Latina immigrant, talking about free market capitalism and the difference that it's made in her life. And I think it's a beautiful commercial, and I love everything about it.
Well, Karyn, my mother is also a Cuban immigrant. This lady was a Nicaraguan immigrant. And a lot of us have had experiences in our own countries that haven't been so great with socialism. Why do you think it's making a comeback in today's America so many years later after the Cuban Revolution? I mean, the Cuban Revolution was in 1959. This is 2019. How are these old ideas coming back into the mainstream?
I think there's two things. I think the word free, or free it's for me, I think a lot of people subscribe to that without really understanding the cost that's really involved. And the secondary thing I think is that it's controversial. And I think when you have people who are divided and who maybe are not in line with the ideals of capitalism, they are very easy to go to kind of the lowest common denominator, which is socialism. And they don't even realize the cost that socialism would have. And we're not talking just a high tax money cost. We're talking about a cost of lifestyle for the American people. It could be detrimental.
So a lot of democratic socialists point to Sweden, Denmark, etc., instead of countries like Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba. What do you think this is?
Because they're a little bit better than those other countries and they do things a little bit better. So, of course, they're going to go with what they feel is a positive. But, those countries have their own problems. Just because we don't hear about them as much doesn't mean that they don't exist. And there are some things that they may be doing well, but those countries really don't publicize a lot of the problems that they have, and they're hidden from the American public. So it's very easy to kind of live in a bubble and say, oh, everything's perfect over there, when in fact it really may not be. It's just perception.
So, we see a lot of polls that people my age especially are latching onto socialism. Do you think that that will go away, or is this something that we're going to have to fight once again this generation?
I really have hope for the millennial generation, and I've said this before, and I think as they mature a little bit, and maybe millennials haven't been as mature at a younger age than previous generations. And I don't even mean this in a disrespectful manner. It's just that things are different now. But I think once they really start to go to work and they start to create income and wealth for themselves, that a lot of these millennials are going to become capitalists. It's just because it hasn't existed in their life where they can apply it to themselves that they don't understand it. So socialism seems like a good option, when if they had actually been out in the workplace for a while and had earned some wealth, they might feel entirely differently. And I really do have faith in millennials. I think this is going to change.
Well, I think that first time I saw my check at my first job, Karyn, take-home pay and how much money the government took out, was the day I decided I probably wasn't a socialist. You think a lot of my colleagues in my age group will have that similar experience, is what you're suggesting?
For sure. And I think it's just life experience. It's just living life and having experiences that actually affect you. When things affect other people, it's not as easy to apply them to yourself. But once you've actually lived it, all of a sudden it's eye-opening. And I think that really is something that's eye-opening when you realize that taxes, that you are a taxpayer and that these things are going to come out of your pocket. And we have all this talk about free health care and free this and free college and free that. But that has to get paid for. And who's going to pay for it? They're going to pay for it. And I think, when Bernie Sanders gets up there and he talks about a 70% tax, I really don't think that this generation is going to subscribe to that. They might sound good right now, but it's not going to sound good when they're the ones earning the income.
So, JCN's campaign is all about telling these stories of the victims of socialism to change the narrative. Good idea?
It's a great idea. I love everything about this. And I love hearing stories of immigrants that come here to live the American dream. Immigrants have been coming here forever. I'm not against immigration. I'm against open borders. And I'm against doing it in a way that hurts the American people. But you know what? The thing that's always been great about America is when people come here, they have opportunity. And they have opportunity that comes from free market capitalism. And this commercial perfectly illustrates that.
Karyn, I couldn't have said it better. Always a pleasure seeing you. Karyn Turk. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.